I did a poll asking you guys what you wanted to see next on my channel, and a lot of you guys wanted a graduate school update or related video, and I don't really know if there's much to say. I've been having a relatively easy time. Nothing much has changed. I've been pretty much soaring through my classes, and I don't really think there's anything to update you guys on, if I'm being honest. What's up guys, it's Jasmine, but my subscribers call me Jazz, and if you're new here, I'm in grad school. I'm doing a master's in Sport Science and Rehabilitation. I have playlists about my college journey so far, so go catch up if you haven't already. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons of my online degree. Keyword my online degree, because your experience might be different. But yeah, let's start with the overall structure of my degree. That way it makes sense when I start talking about the pros and cons. But my degree is 100% online, and we do discussion-based classes. So every week we get a discussion topic, and we do one post addressing the teacher's topic, and then we have to respond to 2 peers, and we do that every week for 15 weeks for every class for every semester. So yeah, I'm tired to say the least, and a little bit bored, but there's some positives in there. So that's just a quick rundown of how my classes go. We might have, sometimes we have a quiz at the end of the week. Depending on the class, you might have a quiz every week. You might have a quiz every few weeks. You might have a test every few weeks. It just depends on the professor. I'm currently taking 2 classes for the summer. I took 3 classes in spring, and I wanted to take a little bit of a break for the summer, so I'm only in 2 classes, and that was probably the best idea I could have done, because it gives me time to do other stuff and enjoy a little bit more free time. So pro number 1 that I have for my degree so far, oh, I didn't even tell you guys, my brain is everywhere. I have like 2 hours to do this because we're going to Georgia in a couple hours, so I'm just trying to get this filmed for you guys. But what was I even gonna say? See, dang, what was I gonna tell you guys? It was very important, and I just talked my way out of remembering. Wow, it'll come back to me. Pro number 1 is that I don't have a lot of essays. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. So I'm in my 2nd semester. I didn't mention that, but this is my 2nd semester of my master's degree. So yeah, but pro number 1 is that I don't have a lot of essays. Typically in graduate school level courses, you end up with like a lot of essays. For my courses, I think since they're discussion based, I lucked out with not really having to worry about essays as much. I think in every class they have to assign at least 1 essay, just based on the trend that I've seen so far in my classes. The longest essay I've done so far is 7 pages, but it wasn't like this super deep research paper. It was based on my career aspirations basically, so I had to take the class and like talk about how what I've learned can help me for my career, and that was last semester. This semester so far I've done 1 2-page essay, and I know I have an essay for my other class coming up in a couple weeks. But yeah, so I think because of the discussion post, I've lucked out with not having to do essays. But when you're doing that many discussion posts and responses, it's pretty much like one giant essay or like a bunch of small essays every week, you know what I mean? So I finished the video. Well, I was just about to finish, and then I got a phone call, and if you don't know, I'm filming on my phone. So everything is gone, basically. I looked at my phone, and only literally the first 4 minutes of that entire 20-minute video was saved to my phone. So we're gonna jump right back into where I was talking about. A few things might be a little different, but we're gonna try again. So, a quick recap, didn't have a lot of essays, but the con to that was I have discussion posts. Like, who wants to do discussion posts every week? Like, my problem with discussions is that I just feel like it doesn't really help us to conceptualize the material as much as it helps us apply the material. And I really wish that there was more opportunities to help conceptualize and like truly learn the material, instead of like, here, read this and then answer this discussion post. You know what I mean? And it's just very draining to have to do a discussion post for each class every week for 15 weeks. That's a lot. I don't know the math. It's a lot, okay? I think one of the benefits of me being in 2 classes for the summer instead of 3 is that I have a little bit more time to work on everything, or I'm not as overwhelmed every week. But I just feel like discussion posts, to me it feels like busy work. Even though I know the benefit of it, it just feels like busy work. I feel like I'm just doing it to get it done and not really coming out of it each week like, oh yeah, this really helped me learn the material. It helps me apply it, but I feel like there should be more opportunities to actually learn instead of just, oh, here's the reading for this week, here's the discussion topic, respond to 2 peers. It's kind of like whatever. At some point after 15 weeks, or not even after 15 weeks, after a few weeks, it goes from I'm genuinely excited to do work in this class to let me go ahead and get this stuff done. You know what I mean? And that can be different for everyone, but for me, sometimes it gets a little mundane. So that's a con. And I guess that leads into my second con, which is that we don't have an online lecture, which is really weird for online school. There's no lecture. Literally, the way each week goes is we have modules that we work through. So it'll be a page that tells you what we're going over, what you need to read, and then sometimes your professor will post a video talking about a specific thing. But as far as like a live lecture that we can go to and have an interaction with the professor, there is none. And that I feel like that's a downside, because we don't really get to feel like we're being like, I've said this in previous videos, it doesn't feel like I'm being taught. It feels like I'm teaching myself. But I feel like an online lecture, it would really help you to actually feel like you're being taught something, and gives you the chance to ask questions. It gives you the chance for the back and forth, because the classes aren't that big. So it would make the learning experience feel a little bit more organic if we actually were able to watch a lecture. It also is beneficial if you maybe missed the lecture to have a lecture to watch. Like, I didn't go to lecture this week, but I can watch it back and listen to the way the professor explained things, maybe ask a question, because sometimes the way a professor lectures gives you clues on what to focus on when it comes to studying for your exams, stuff like that, but we don't have lectures. Now, that's not to say if you do an online degree, you won't have lectures. That's just the way my classes have been. None of my teachers have done lectures, like online lectures. But that goes hand in hand with my second pro, which is that I have nice professors. So even though they don't have like live lectures or lectures at all, They're very approachable, very nice, and very willing to help. So it balances out. Like, hey, we don't have lectures, but if you need something, reach out. They're very approachable, very helpful. They give good feedback. So that's something I really appreciate about my professors so far. And that just goes, and that's for like any class, whether that be in person or online. You are expected to take the initiative to get help when you need it. So I like the fact that they are approachable. Like, I feel like I can come to you about it without feeling like I'll be belittled or like you'll be annoyed with me, because sometimes that keeps people from reaching out because they don't have professors that are approachable. Sometimes people have professors that make them feel stupid. Nobody wants to be made to feel stupid, especially if you're supposed to be teaching me something. My third pro is that I don't have a lot of assignments. So that's one of the positives that has come out of having discussion posts every week. That's pretty much the weekly assignment, is to do your discussion post. And then if you have a test, you have a test. If you have a quiz, you have a quiz. There has been, I think the only assignments we really have outside of discussion posts is that one essay per class per semester. So I've lucked out as far as not really having like homework assignment. You know how they'll give you like a handout that you need to fill out or questions you need to answer? Like, I don't really have that. It's just a discussion post, my peer responses, quiz. But you do it every week for 15 weeks. But I would rather do that than to have to do the discussion posts, extra assignments, and tests and quizzes. You know what I mean? So that's a good one. All right, so my third con to my online degree so far is that there's really no visual or hands-on opportunities because it's online. There's one class I can think of so far in the future, but I'll have hands-on opportunities. But so that's a downside to my degree being online, because my discipline is kinesiology. Kinesiology is the study of human movement. So if I'm learning about sport science and rehabilitation, but it's all online, you limit how well somebody can conceptualize things, especially if there's no lecture. You don't have anything visual for me to look at as far as, conceptualizing what we're going through. Like, imagine you're learning about motion, but all you have to help you understand it is pictures. Pictures don't move, but we're learning about motion. It's kind of like a conflict of interest when it comes to solidifying your knowledge and understanding about the topics. So, which then in turn means that I have to look for the visual examples, and I'm in my room trying to figure out what we're talking about. So it would be beneficial to have had, if this was an in-person degree, to have had that element of the in-person demonstrations and visual application and labs and activities. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people in my classes, they are already in their careers. Some of them are they're health professionals, so they are either getting their chiropractic degree, they already have theirs. Some of them work with physical therapists, occupational therapists. Some of them are sports coaches, so they have seen the physical examples that we might be learning about. But for me, as someone who doesn't have a career yet, but I want to be able to take this into a place where I can teach it, it would be really beneficial for me to see different applications of this material so that I can better teach it one day. You know what I mean? But as I was saying before, it kind of puts the pressure on us, especially because we don't have a lecture. It kind of puts the pressure on us to be the ones who look up visual examples. But that can be hard if you are still learning about a concept and you don't know what you don't know, Or maybe you're trying to look something up that'll help you understand what you're learning that week, but you don't even know how to look for it. Have you ever tried to look for something on Google, but the phrase you were typing was not giving you the results you needed? Sometimes I run into that issue. So that's one of the cons to it being online, is that we don't really get that opportunity to do the hands-on and the visual learning examples, even though I do feel like the visual element could be improved by simply adding video lectures or video examples of the concepts we're going over. Because sometimes graphs and 2D pictures can only go so far. Like, imagine if you're a surgeon, you're studying to be a surgeon, but all you ever get is textbooks, and your textbooks don't have pictures. You don't get to train how to use certain tools. You don't get to watch live surgeries. Like, you don't get to apply in like the physical sense what you're learning. That's kind of, it doesn't make sense, because it's a sport science and rehabilitation degree. The material we're learning is great. It's just, if we're going to apply something, I think application would be better in visual ways rather than a discussion post. That's what I'm trying to get at. But we can't do it because it's online, so they resort to discussion posts. All of my pros and cons go like hand in hand. But that's pretty much my update for my grad school experience so far. I've been blessed with great teachers, and overall it's been a positive experience. Even though I have pros and cons, I feel like my experience has been positive, because at the end of the day, it is what I make it. And even though it's been hard, it's not hard because of like the material I'm learning. Sometimes I don't understand things as easily, but I would say the hard part comes from learning how to be an independent learner, because I'm so used to undergrad where we had in-person lectures and we had labs and we had visual like stuff like that. So yeah, that would probably be the hardest part about this online degree, is that it's very much an independent degree. You're pretty much teaching yourself, and in a way I think that is beneficial for me because I want to be a professor anyways. So if I can learn how to teach myself, it can help me to teach others. But the only downside to that is that not everybody learns the same. So it would be great to have been able to experience different teaching styles to give me ideas on how to teach other people. When it comes to being an independent learner, things like taking notes and my study method, those are things I'm still trying to figure out. Some classes I take notes, some classes I don't. My biomechanics teacher is awesome in the fact that he gives a study guide for each week, because we have a quiz every week. So he gives a study guide to help us see what to focus on for the reading assignment. So that's how I take my notes, is I follow the study guide. But after that week, I don't really touch my notes because I bought the book. You know what I mean? Like, I have a whole book with that information. I'm not looking at my notes. Everybody's different, but if you've ever seen those videos on YouTube of med school students who say like how I got good grades without taking notes in med school, they talk about stuff like active recall and blah blah blah. Like, I'm still figuring out a good way to learn information, and yeah, so I don't really have a set way of note taking. I'm kind of learning that taking notes doesn't really help me learn. I'm a very visual person, whether that be like drawing stuff and making graphics, and like that's the type of stuff I want to bring to the table when I'm a professor. Like, I want my lectures to be interesting. Like, I want you, like, if you have ADD or ADHD, if you don't remember anything from my lecture, you're going to remember the pictures that I had on the screen. You're going to remember the graphics that I had on the screen. You're going to take something away. Like, I want there to be something for somebody to grab onto during my lecture. You know what I mean? My study method, still figuring that out. So that's still a journey that I'm on. My degree, I should be finishing next summer. I only have, after this semester, I only have 5 classes left and then an internship. So it's going by quickly. But yeah, that's my update for summer. Hopefully this gave some of you insight. Once again, I want to emphasize that this is my experience with my online degree. Every program is different in some way, shape, or form. But if you're doing an online degree, I hope this helped you in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, we made it through the video and it's still recording. So that's a win. If you have any questions for me, please comment them below. If you're interested in going to grad school, let me know what you're interested in studying. Let me know what you're currently studying. Or if you already went to school, let me know what you went to school from. Let's just make this like a little, a time to interact with each other if you want. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video gets up this weekend. But yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. I have playlists. Don't forget, I have playlists for you to watch. Subscribe if you aren't already. Like this video if you enjoyed. And I will see you in my next video.